What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. When I started playing League of Legends back in October 2011, it took about 4 months total of playing almost every day actually for me to hit level 30. And that process of leveling your account from 1 to 30 exists to accomplish a few goals. But if you take a look and break it down, it's hard to make a case for how accurately those goals are being accomplished, and makes you wonder, is the leveling system in League of Legends broken? Also, when this video goes live, I'll be giving away a Razer Kraken headset to all regions, and it's super easy to enter, just check the link in the description. And if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you don't, hit the dislike. Anyways, let's get started. So the main reason why I bring up this topic in the first place is because Riot Meddler made a post on the forums a day or so ago, it might be a few days now by the time this video comes out, commenting on how he thought the leveling process was too long, and that Riot plans on cutting the total amount of experience needed to get to level 30 by about half, potentially as soon as the next patch. That's honestly a huge change that might be a little bit easy to pass up for the group of us who are already level 30. To put things into perspective, the amount of games needed to get to level 30 without any experience boosts right now is on average around 365 normal games. And cutting that in half would put the amount of experience needed to get to level 30 at the current amount of experience to get to level 22 in the game right now. 365 games is a huge amount, and you could honestly spend 300, 400 hours to finish them all, maybe even more. And when you take into account that you have to play League for that long just so that you aren't a beginner anymore, and it's not hard to see that, oh man, that is a lot of games that it takes to get to level 30. So the first and probably most successful thing leveling accomplishes is gating content for newer players, in order to limit their options, which in turn makes it easier for new players to learn the game. This works by limiting the summoner spells based on level as well as runes and masteries, and it's honestly not bad. For a completely new player, limiting the things they have to worry about is honestly great. It might be hard for an experienced player to feel that way, but when you start playing the game, first off, being cluttered with all these decisions and choices is not good. When someone new to MOBAs plays League for the first time, simple things just like moving around and casting abilities is something that they have to play dozens of games just to get used to, let alone what thing to select with their 6th mastery point or what summoner spells to use. As well, it also serves as a way to give a sense of accomplishment and progression as you level up. Now this is something that the leveling system does not do well at all, as a direct result from it taking way too long. When it takes you 30 to 60 hours to get a single level, getting one more mastery point or one more rune unlocked doesn't make you feel very good about leveling up at all. And because masteries and runes are unlocked based on level, that brings the added problem of putting lower level players at a meaningful disadvantage in games. And lowering the amount of experience needed to hit level 30 significantly does a pretty good job of fixing this specific problem, in that since levels will be faster, you as a player are likely to feel better when you actually do level up, since the unlocks won't be that far away from each other anymore. And the third purpose of the leveling system is to add a barrier to entry for ranked. Now this is an interesting one because lowering the amount of experience needed potentially adds in a lot of problems to this, since the barrier to entry for ranked is essentially being cut in half almost. And this is a really interesting case, since when Dynamic Queue was released, the barrier to entry for ranked was actually lowered by a pretty decent amount. For fresh players hitting level 30, it's much less intimidating to queue ranked with your friends than it is to just jump in solo. For freshly hit level 30, jumping into ranked is pretty scary. And it is important for ranked to have some barrier to entry, because ranked is supposed to be this strict competitive game mode, where, at least on paper, everyone goes in playing to win as their #1 priority, to play their best and do whatever it takes just to win, and that's a really big part of what makes ranked what it is. And you can't have new players or beginners jumping into a game mode like that, they'll just get torn apart. So having a barrier to entry for ranked is really important, and I guess that's actually kind of accomplished by requiring 17 champions, as Riot Meddler mentioned on the same post that most players who hit level 30 with this new system will not own the amount of required champions, which really brings up what I think is the bigger problem in leveling, which is just IP. You need 17 champions and 2 decent rune pages to play ranked on a fair level as everyone else, and those rune pages can often cost as much as 20,000-30,000 IP each or so to build up. and that's assuming you don't waste IP on something along the way, which almost everyone does. And to be honest, with dynamic queue now, I actually don't think it's that bad to lower the mandatory barrier to entry for ranked, at least a little bit. 17 champions is still a lot of IP for most players, and the barrier to entry for ranked is a problem that honestly probably shouldn't be solved by the leveling process at all. Different players learn at a completely different rate, and someone could hit level 30, play ranked, and be bronze 5, or someone could hit level 30, play ranked, and be gold. And the leveling system doesn't do a good job of determining when a player is ready to play ranked. I've personally always thought that any individual player is ready to play ranked when they personally feel like it. When you think you're ready to play ranked, when you have that competitive mindset, that's probably when you're ready. And even if you suck, as long as you have the right mindset going in and are prepared mentally, you'll have fun and you'll get a lot out of it. Having a barrier to enter is great to stop new players, but lowering the overall barrier and still keeping the mental barrier of runes and champions high is pretty good, and I think this is a good way to do it, and I don't think it should take 300 or 400 hours of League just so that you aren't seen as a beginner anymore. However, although lowering the amount of experience to enter ranked might solve some problems of the leveling system, it doesn't fix the real problem of leveling, which is runes and IP, and to some extent masteries too now that we have keystones. It's a little bit difficult to solve though, because you can't just unlock everything at once, otherwise you put lower leveled players at an insane disadvantage, much more so than they are already when they get to the threshold that you might queue into the player that is a level that has those unlocked. I mean, honestly, as early as level 25 or 26, you can start queuing into low MMR level 30s. So you can't really just unlock everything all at once. But one thing I will say is that once you hit level 30, the players should probably be given some amount of bonus IP to buy runes specifically with. And along the way during leveling, to give players the feeling of accomplishment on leveling up, you could give them stuff like small amounts of IP, maybe Hextech chests, and maybe a token or two at bigger milestones like 20, 25 that can be used to purchase a champion for free. And by giving players IP when runes are fully unlocked, you make it clear to them that, okay, this IP is supposed to be spent on runes, so go buy runes and use them. And it's much more intuitive than players just keeping runes in the back of their mind as they level, assuming that they somehow, sometime have to spend some amount on them. As well, giving players a feeling of accomplishment on leveling is something that is really good. It should be fun and encouraging to level up, and 1% more attack speed isn't going to do that for anyone. But I personally think this change in terms of the experience is pretty good, and although it's not perfect, it's a step in the right direction for sure, and certainly helps out anyone wanting to make a smurf, I guess, as well as helping those new players out a little bit too. And that's just about it. Here's some of my favorite comments where I asked what you guys liked about Bard. Today's question is, what do you think about the leveling experience? If you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.